Amazing. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for our final episode of our three-part miniseries, The Mystery of Hollowcreek, playing the system of Vaesen from Free League Publisher. I am so excited to have everyone here tonight. First and foremost, I do want to go ahead and do some quick shout outs to our sponsors who are very, very graciously providing discount codes for all of our viewers and community members. So first of all, Session Zero has some awesome D&D inspired streetwear. You can get 15% off your order if you use the code ORDER at checkout. Next up, Norse Foundry for some amazing artisanal dice. You can get 15% off by using TIO15 at checkout. Then we have our very own, how do I put this? One of our OG streamers with us, Ray, aka GodDM, has very kindly given us a discount code of 20% off the Roaming Player Gear Dice Tower combination if you use Carnaby 20 at checkout. And last but not least, Mithril Armory. I apologize, I'm a little nervous tonight. You can go ahead and get 10% off your order if you use the code initiative at checkout. And last but not least, we are very, very happy to be ambassadors for Jaspers Game Day, which is a fantastic nonprofit organization dedicated to raising awareness and funds for suicide prevention. But now, I would love to have our players introduce themselves. So why don't we go ahead and start with, first of all, a very happy birthday to Beau. So Beau, let's start with you.
Hello everyone. My name is Beau. I use they, them pronouns, and you can find me all over the internet as Dorky Teacher. Except for on Twitch for some reason where it's just Dorky Teacher because Dorky Teacher was taken.
Amazing. And who will you be playing tonight?
Oh, right. I'm playing Eleanor Easton. I'm a little tired. I'm playing Eleanor Easton, a very, very old woman who is doing her best. You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you. I apologize. Next up, why don't we go over to Michael?
Yo, 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 what up? What up? It's your boy, Michael. No, oh, hello, my name is Michael Sinclair II. I go by Michael Crits everywhere. I'm a professional TTRPG performer, and I'm a Magic the Gathering personality, an aspiring tournament grinder person. My pronouns are he, him. My character's pronouns, Kasper, Krabb, are also he, him, and I'm ready to get this started.
Amazing. And Jazz.
Hi, I'm Jazz. I am Bugbear Hug on Instagram, and that's pretty much it. And I'm playing Maja. I'm a hunter. I'm kind of spooky. And I have a dog named Pierogi, and my pronouns are she, they. Maja is she, her.
And Will.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will, the Lore Keeper over at Arclight Court, at Arclight Court on Instagram and on Twitch. My pronouns are he, him. The character I'm playing is Valerio Lorenzano, the occultist, whose pronouns are also he, him.
Wonderful. And I am very excited to be the game master for this evening. My name is Brianna. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Brianna Flame. My pronouns are she, they. And without further ado, let's go ahead and start the last episode of Mystery of Hollowcreek. Now, starting out this session, I want to do a quick recap as to what's occurred so far for our investigators. We currently have 4 investigators from the Rose House, stationed in London, currently up in the small town of Wolford, investigating mysterious deaths that have occurred over the last couple weeks. The party did start with 5 investigators, and at the end of last episode, unfortunately, the party now only has 4. But within this investigation so far, there has been some information that our investigators have gathered. So, to start, within this investigation, the party has found something that caught their eye the first day, what appeared to be a fairy ring. Goat prints near a fairy ring. Eleanor, within the last evening, had visions from what felt like the creature's perspective as she was so focused on her writing, a prophetic vision came to her. Starting with the sight of a dead goat, this feeling of overwhelming anger, and a vision of her in the place of this creature killing the mayor's son. The previous night, everyone had kind of gone their separate ways. Magnus off on his own to his unfortunate demise, but the rest of the party, I would say, finds themselves asleep at this hour. However, I do want to start with Eleanor. In between your maybe some successful, less successful moments of rest in the evening as age has caught up with you, the anger and emotion of the previous day may be affecting your ability to sleep soundly. Rolling over, you start feeling a cramp in your back and you sit up in order to try to get more comfortable. And as you start blinking your eyes, what you see is light coming through your window from the moonlight starts going black once more, very similar to how it did the previous day. This time you're not seeing from the perspective of something, but there's glimpses of sight and sound. The sound of water, the sound of a splash. You see what appears to be leaves just on the top of a book that appears to be floating in water. You feel anger, and then you feel sorrow. What would you like to do?
I would reach over to whatever bedside table there is, pull out the notebook that is there, and immediately try to write those things down.
Absolutely.
if I get up and look out the window, what time is it roughly? Is there any sense of?
You would probably guess at this hour it's likely around 3 in the morning. Doesn't quite appear to be even getting to sunrise.
Okay. And do I feel I'm like fully awake at this point?
Yes, you are.
It's like one of those like, oh yeah, no, there's no way. I'm not going back to sleep. Okay. Did we know of a library in town?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did we know of a library in town? Is there any mention of that?
There's a mention of books that are, I guess I should ask, and there's not necessarily a library. Is there a specific type of book that you're looking for?
Books of folklore, specifically even like historical accounts of the town might be helpful, or anything that might have just stories, not even necessarily from this town, but just like something that I could like try to rack my brain as to what is going on here. Try to do something productive.
Understood. Two things that come to mind. There is mention of this is something that Valerio had a bit more hands-on experience with. Was the church was referenced as potentially a location you can get that kind of information, but also there were definitely a lot of books down at essentially the city hall.
It's 3 in the morning, so I do have some time to kill before those things are open. I don't think I'm going to be breaking into anywhere tonight, but I would like to spend some time with Sniffles. Just over there petting Sniffles, and spending some time with my trinket, my memento, and trying to kind of calm myself after everything that I've seen, if possible.
Understood. Now, as a mechanics question, when you're interacting with the trinket that you have, your memento, and trying to stay calm, are you attempting to eliminate the condition that you have?
Yes, to try to eliminate my angry condition.
I would say that's successful, yes.
Okay. There might be some liquid courage in there as well. So
that should be a mechanic in this liquid courage.
I mean, I have a flask of whiskey, and it's supposed to help me inspire people. I don't know how that helps with conditions, but
I say a combination of the trinket, the liquid courage, and Sniffles as well.
Bestest dog. Yes.
So you're able to, if you're wanting to spend like the early hours of this morning just resting, trying to calm yourself, think over what's been happening, or even maybe not what's been happening, what had happened previously for you, your prior investigations or experiences of happier times. You are able to revert that condition.
Okay. And I'm assuming that means that I'm up before everyone?
I would say yes, unless there is any reason any of the other party members would be attempting to get up early.
Maybe I think we didn't get to it, but we were at Noah's house, and I said I was making tea, and by making tea I mean I was also stealing things. Was I successful at stealing things while I was there?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. Did I have you roll a stealth check?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Let's say go ahead and make a stealth check. Just to see. I apologize. I didn't have you roll it then.
Oh, I need to get my dice. Let me just
did a lot of things. Right at the end of the session, there was a lot going on.
A lot, yeah. But considering, just to go back to you, Eleanor, the hours to which you woke up with this vision and the couple hours spent resting, I would say it's safe that you are up earlier than the remaining party members. If there's anything that you're wanting to do or anyone you were wanting to go wake.
wouldn't want to wake anyone.
Okay.
But I would go and leave a note under Magnus's door.
Okay.
Just letting Magnus know where I'm going. And be written in this kind of like very beautiful, elegant, like flowing script. And just signed at the bottom, EE.
Okay.
2 successes.
2 successes. Perfect. And this was at a Noah's house, correct?
Yep.
Noah's house.
Probably trying to steal silverware or nice china that he has like tucked away somewhere.
Understood. I would say that you were able to pocket a couple really nice silver spoons that you found.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll pocket that. And then because it's nighttime, either I did this in the evening or early in the morning and try and find a fence in town if there's any. I'm trying to look for. I'm a vagabond, so like I feel I could probably find someone who seems fancy.
I'm sorry, you're trying to find what in town?
A fencer, someone who usually will take like illegal items for trade, because usually you can't just be like, I'm going to take this to the local shop, and then someone's like, hey, I'm missing my silverware, and have you seen some person? So
Understood. I would say that considering your history, your vagabond background, you would be able to find someone who seems a bit shadier outside. As people are
or
starting to
we could make it spicy, and I can make that terrible roll that like is never good. The well-traveled thing where like you try and roll to see if you can meet an accomplice or something.
Understood. So yes, you have already used that talent for this investigation.
Oh, okay, we have. Okay. Never mind.
You're good though.
That's good though, because then I don't want to get like beat up in the middle of an alleyway, because that could also happen. So
That could have also happened. Yeah.
I'll find a fence the old-fashioned way.
Definitely. Although no check necessary for expediency in this case. I would say you were able to find like a shadier individual who was hanging out, kind of initially watching people as they were headed home from like the later open establishments. Quick discussion with this person. They would be willing to purchase the spoons off of you. And I would say let's go ahead and increase temporarily for 1 day your resources an additional point.
Back to 2.
Yes.
It's nice. And then I'll give him one of my cigarettes that I've rolled up, free of charge. People always be bumming, so I'm like, sure, have one.
Got it. Perfect.
Did the incense that Valerio left in Mr. Krabb's room help him with his sleeping through the night? Was the coughing lessened?
I would say that while well-intentioned, Mr. Krabb still suffers with a cough. It's less the circumstances of what's around him.
Oh, okay.
But now, in the morning, early hours, Eleanor, looking out your window, you do see sunrise at this point. You hear the light shuffle of footsteps as well down the hallway. Sounds like someone else is now up.
Okay. Yeah, I would, pack my bag and put the leash around Sniffles and kind of just gently make my way down, ever so slowly, down the stairs and out the door, and just make my way to whatever is closest to either the church or City Hall.
Okay. And Eleanor, if you would, could you roll a vigilance check for me?
Sure. 2 and 3, 5. There's a single success. It's just a 6. That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. 1 success.
1 success? Perfect. So as you are starting to head out the front door, very almost surprisingly, you're able to stop for a moment as you hear something on the opposite side of the front door of the inn. And as the door starts swinging in towards you, you're able to move out of the way. You do see a familiar face. It is the Noah, the son of the mayor, that is currently, he appears a little flustered. and coming in and now seeing that you're here, start speaking with you immediately. Miss Easton, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry to be delivering such bad news, but we found a body last night.
Body?
Yeah, we think that it was another instance of what's been happening. Are your friends with you as well?
Oh, they're probably upstairs.
Okay. Do you mind if I go and get them?
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. And he'll very quickly ask you what room numbers or a description of where they can be found, and starts heading upstairs. Now,
I'm just gonna gently find a chair to sit in.
So Valerio, Kasper, and Maja, each of you very quickly hear very loud knocking at your respective doors. Let's say seconds between each one. And you hear a voice in the hallway you would recognize as Noah's. Or Valeria, you actually would not recognize as you did not meet him. But Kasper and Maja, you do recognize it. And he's saying, I'm sorry, this is Noah, the mayor's son from last night. I need to speak with you all, if that's okay.
I open the door immediately at the first knock.
First knock, you kind of catch him by surprise. He looks a little spooked. But steps back and starts going over to the other doors and waiting for everyone to make their way into the hallway.
Mario opens his door as well, like halfway through the third knock.
I woke up at the first knock, but I'm not opening my door yet. I'm just waiting cautiously to hear if it's about the silverware I stole, because I don't know any better. And so I'm just gonna wait and listen in for a little bit before opening my door.
You do hear, as you're waiting and Maja and Valerio have stepped out, you hear Noah starts to lower his voice and just says, I'm sorry, but we found a body last night. And
I opened my door.
Yeah. And now kind of glancing over, slight nod, acknowledgement, and I assume you just heard.
Who was it?
I'm sorry. I believe it was your friend, Mr. Anderson.
Magnus?
Can I go over to Magnus's room immediately and open it?
Yes, you can. Well, I believe Magnus had locked his door, but if you do start knocking on it and kicking it,
I just kick
absolutely.
it immediately.
I'm not even going to require a check for this. I like where this is going narratively. So as you kick open the door, and there's a slight sound of damage now taking place to this door, you do see that the room is empty.
Is there any sign of anything inside that I can see?
Looking in there, you see a bag that he'd left. He hadn't taken it with him, but you do not see that the items he had on him last were present in the room.
We would find Eleanor's note, though, right? Because
Yes.
I popped a note into there.
There is a small note on the floor.
I take it.
It was a note from Eleanor.
While this is happening, I'm going back into my room because I came out, saw, and then I guess it's time for my get me all reliables. And I'm gonna go into my room and grab my hand axe and crowbar just to get ready for whatever, really.
Wonderful. And maybe a squeaky toy for one of the dogs in the party as well.
Yeah.
Your circus horn.
Pierogi left their dog toy in the room. I was also making sure to grab that.
That's very thoughtful. But yeah, so you're able to grab your items. Valerio, is there anything you're doing at this moment?
Valerio is going to unbutton. He immediately threw like the white button-up shirt that he wears on. At hearing everything, he undoes the cufflinks of the shirt, pulls the sleeves up to the markings, the magic runes and symbols that he had taken note of, kind of folds his sleeves up, takes the handle off of the cane, and slides the dagger into the top of it for his spear, and gets ready to start walking out.
Okay. And Noah does, once seeing everyone kind of going, getting their respective belongings, indicate that Eleanor was downstairs, but had not been told yet about the news. He'll start walking downstairs unless one of you wants to share the news.
I mean, I would probably be just booking it out if there was, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So yeah, there's no resistance from Noah unless Kasper.
I'm following hot on the heels of Maja and also taking a dog out real quick.
Okay. So as the two of you start heading down the stairs a bit faster than Noah's able to, you do see Eleanor sitting in one of the chairs in this front lobby.
Let's go.
Where are we going?
Magnus is dead.
Oh.
And
Right.
I go out the door.
Stay right there with Madame Eleanor.
Just going to shakily stand and kind of accept Valerio's arm if he puts it out.
Absolutely.
How did he die?
That's what we're going to find out, madam. Unfortunately, the information was just given to us now, upon awaking.
You see. Okay.
If you would like to stay here,
Oh, no.
stay.
No, we've got something to do.
Yes. It'll be one moment. Valeria's going to turn to Rose, the attendant for the inn,
Yes.
and ask if anything has been forwarded here from the Rose House. He's still waiting on that letter from Ulrika.
Understood. Rose does look at you as she kind of glances around to see if she's misplaced anything, but says, I'm sorry, we haven't received anything.
I appreciate it, though. Thank you. Our friend is the larger gentleman is no longer with us. I will place his things into my room and clear the area for you once we get back from seeing what has happened.
Oh, my condolences. I'm so sorry to hear that. Take your time. You can keep the room for the day. It's not a problem for us.
Just like to make things easier for everyone. And I'm going to still offer my arm to Madame Eleanor, and then just as soon as turning away from Rose, all emotion, all feeling, immediately stoic, and is now ready to move forward.
Got it. And I would say that Kasper has already followed Maja at this point, as mentioned, kind of on her heels. Maja, where are you heading currently?
I remember Magnus leaving us, like when we were at the fairy circle, I think. So I'm just gonna try to retrace his steps. Or did they say they found the body?
Yeah, they did say that they found the body.
Well, then I'll just go there.
Understood. It would take just a moment of waiting for Noah, who was behind the party, to catch up and just say, I don't think we've moved it yet. It's down by the creek, south side of the town. I can show you there, and he'll start walking if you do choose to follow.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so as Maja and Kasper are heading in that direction, Valerio, Eleanor, are you choosing to go as well, or are you doing something else?
Miss Eleanor still wishes to go. I'm going to stay right by her side and get her there safely, as I was requested to do.
Yes, I would like to see the body.
a short walk, only a few minutes' time from where you're currently located. But you are taken to essentially what is Hollowcreek, the creek that's been referenced a few times so far in this investigation. You do see that there are a few people who seem to be standing around. You see Noah's father, the mayor, who is there. You see a couple people that you've seen in passing but didn't get names for, town folk that are being a little bit too nosy for their own good. But eventually they do part, and you do see Magnus lying on the ground. His body is pale, his throat missing where it once was, and a great deal of blood you can see near some of the downed branches that are on the opposite side of the creek. There are some belongings that are strewn across as well, including a book.
He's not covered at all?
Not at this time, no.
I was gonna pull away and remove my shawl and cover his body.
Adam, it's okay. I'll offer my jacket off to cover the body and take the length of chain that I carry and move it up and over my shoulder instead of around my ribs.
And go ahead, Maja.
Oh, I like immediately moved that cloth aside to examine the body.
Oh, I'm not like over the top of it, but it's right there next to it, so that once we're done, we can cover him.
Okay.
And now, with this circumstance, I'm actually going to have everyone roll the first fear check of this investigation. So, considering you're seeing the sight of a bloody corpse, this is considered a scary sight. What you'll be doing is choosing to roll for either, let's see here, I apologize.
Logic or empathy, I do believe.
Yes, you can choose to roll with either one. It's up to you. And a success as normal is a 6. With this, however, you do have multiple people who are in your party that are nearby. So that does grant you an advantage for each one. So considering there are 3 other party members, you'll get an additional 3 die.
Oh, okay, that's how it is.
And Michael, did you hear any of that by chance or no? Okay, so the party has been brought down to the creek where Magnus's body is, and it has been shown on the ground. With this, everyone's going to be making a fear check. So you'll be rolling with either logic or empathy, your choice. A success as normal is a 6, and you do get an additional 3 die for having your party members with you.
I have 2 successes out of 7 dice.
3.
3, okay. 2, perfect.
Also 3.
Also 3? Okay, perfect. So, all you needed was 1 success for this site. So everyone, for a moment there, you feel, depending on your character, maybe a sense of dread, a sense of guilt, or just a bit of a shock at the sight. But as it is right now, you are not considered to be in a state of fear. But the body is there on the ground in front of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna examine it as soon as I can.
Lean on Valerio's arm and gently lower myself to be kneeling on the ground next to his head and just brush away any hair that's in his face.
Okay.
Trying to think.
Oh, go ahead.
I might. No, we would know on the way in. So I was just gonna like redact if I could have got a canvas bag, like a big canvas, not bag, but canvas sheet or whatever, and some rope, because I imagine we're not going to be leaving them out here. So I'm just setting that stuff aside next to
Magnus.
Magnus. Yes, thank you. Setting it next to Magnus, but I'm going to let Maja and everyone else figure out, investigate the area before anything, before I lay all the stuff down. But I'm laying it down once they're done so that it's easy to kind of get it going.
Absolutely. Now, Maja, you're going to be investigating the body?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And Valerio, I apologize. What are you doing?
I'm asking to speak with who it was that found the body.
Okay. So, Maja, to start, why don't you go ahead and make an investigation check for me?
And pierogi helps with that, right? In this situation?
Yes, Pierogi does.
Cool.
While that's happening, can I also send Barnaby out to, because it's a trained pigeon, to maybe scout the area? There's no way for me to communicate with Barnaby with specific language, but I'm going to toss him up and let him just fly around and then see how he responds when he gets back to me.
Got it. I'll keep that in mind and we'll return to that. Maja?
One success.
One success. Okay. So, Maja, as you're looking at this body, one thing different with the circumstance right now versus the other bodies is that you haven't had the chance to see the other bodies. Everything had already happened prior to you arriving in Wolford. But looking at Magnus, you see something very similar to what was described in terms of the mayor's son's death. His throat was completely ripped out. That is the biggest wound that you see. You do see that his body is and his clothing is soaked. It was definitely in the creek, and you're seeing that there's like twigs and some leaves that got stuck in his hair.
It seems like a large clawed thing did this.
Yes. And Valerio, as you were asking to speak with the person who'd found the body, they do communicate that they'll be bringing the person by. They've since left. It was, let's see, Charles Lewis, a local farmer that had found the body. They do indicate they'll bring him here as quickly as possible, and someone runs off.
I would like to...
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I would like to speak with him away from the body, away from the rest, even if we just step out of earshot of the rest, just to ease the tension and anxiety of the situation.
Absolutely. So as that is happening, Kasper, you'd sent Barnaby up in the air and kind of just watching him with a careful eye to see what he's doing. He appears to circle for a bit, and he goes and lands on the opposite side of the creek. He appears to be kind of pecking at some of the, there's a downed tree with some branches that are still in the water. And you see that he's found a little bit of fabric that matches a torn section of Magnus's shirt.
I'm going to wait for Maja to be done inspecting what she's inspecting. And I'm just going to be, after they're done, Oi, Maja, I think I see some fabric over there. Barnaby pointed it out.
Where? Is it across the river, or?
Yes, right across the river. It's dangling right there. Just out across, there's a log right there. You can just cross on over.
I jump over.
Okay. No check necessary. I would say that the creek, larger creek comparatively to other ones that you've encountered, but you're able to, as you climb onto one of the small logs and jump across, you do get stuck in the water, but you're able to get over to where these branches are that he's indicating. You see that Barnaby was picking at a piece of cloth that had been torn from Magnus's shirt.
Do I see any tracks around that?
As you go up to the opposite, are you going up to the opposite side of the creek at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say go ahead and make a investigation check. Pierogi will not be able to assist you with this unless Pierogi is finding a way across. Or swimming with you.
Yeah, Pierogi would probably, if he can.
Yeah,
I'll join them. I'll lift Pierogi onto my shoulders. I'm basically the brute of the party, so I'm just putting that on top of my shoulders and walking across with Maja.
Okay.
Pierogi still has the squeaky toy in his mouth.
Happily reunited. So as you're over there, go ahead and make an investigation check, and you will get the bonus from Pierogi.
Just one.
And that was one success?
Yeah, just one.
Okay. So as you're looking around, you see there is indentation. There are prints on the opposite side of the creek, appear to have gotten out momentarily, paced around a little bit, but then appear to go back into the creek. These do look to be like cloven hoof prints again.
They go into the water?
Yes.
Did people say that there were hoof prints at the other sites of the bodies? Like
there was no mention of hoof prints at the other locations, but it also was not specifically looked for.
We did notice the hoof prints coming from the ferry circle.
Yes.
Right.
Down.
Is this the same? These are the same hoof prints as the ones we saw over there?
I would say they look almost exactly the same in size and shape.
Does it seem like the hoof prints came from the water to Magnus's body, or can I see where it came from?
Understood. So the hoof prints essentially look like they started in water, came onto the land, paced around a bit, and then went back into the water.
Okay. And then did they come out on the other side at Magnus's body?
If anyone is looking over there, I would say if Maja, you continue to return back and look around, you do see that there's some hoof prints.
But they just go back into the water and I can't find anything else.
Oh, no. So just to clarify, you see hoof prints on the opposite side if you choose to follow them further.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Perfect. So with this one, I would have it be an additional investigation check now just for the tracking at this point, as you had already located them. But at this time, with the investigating going on, I just want to check in. Eleanor, are you doing anything specifically during this time?
I would be tidying up the body, picking those twigs that were in his hair and cleaning it up. And, once they're done looking over the body, just give it a quick once over, see if I recognize anything, and then look over Magnus's personal effects.
So in the moment of picking the twigs out of his hair, looking over him, very similar to as previously described, you see the obvious cause of death and like the wear from sections of his shirt now missing. You do see in his personal effects off to the side, his rifle is waterlogged at this point, and a book you recognize as your book.
I'm gonna pick up the book and just gently look it over, open it, and is everything all like completely ruined at this point?
A lot of sections, yes, it's been soaked through.
I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it in my my bag and just gently cover up the body and start making my way up, and seeing that my friends are across the way, I'm not exactly able to ford a river.
I'm still on the same side as you. I haven't left that side yet. I'm waiting to speak with the person who found.
Mm-hmm. I think I saw this before it happened this morning.
My family is taught to speak with people similar to yourself, Madam Eleanor. To see what is to come is as painful as experiencing it when it happens. but you feel that tenfold. I wish I could take that burden from you.
Keep it.
But I'm here to lighten it as best as I can.
I didn't say it before it happened. As it happened.
Are you certain?
Yes, I was the creature.
Do you know what you appeared like? Your hands.
No. So much feeling, anger. I don't
Did you feel
much,
connected?
I felt connected. It's my fault that Magnus was out last night. But he was. Drove him off, I did.
I don't believe that he would have left you just for unkind words. I had entrusted him as protector to you, so it had to have been something much more than that, madam. I can only help carry the pain you allow me to, and I'm here to help carry as much of it as you'll allow me.
I'm gonna look Valerio in the eyes. And you can see that Eleanor is tearing up. She's got these bright gray eyes. She's looking not at you, but in you. Trying to see if any of that is true.
It's 100% true. Valerio has like no empathy. It's his lowest stat. So it's everything about what he's saying is all logic. You are only as powerful.
No, about being able to hold the emotions.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think we have different definitions of holding emotions, child. But we do have work to do.
Yes, we do, madam.
Okay. And while this conversation is going on, investigation for the footprints found, and now on this side once more, Kasper and Maja, you have returned. Maja, could you make a vigilance check for me?
While that's happening, I'm going to start getting. Why can't I words? Why can't I think of their name?
Magnus.
I'm gonna start getting Magnus's body into the canvas with the rope and stuff, and start making it so that they're carryable. Because I'm gonna be the person carrying them out, I assume.
That's one again.
Okay. Thank you. Keep that in mind. Now, Valerio, you do see a man approaching, being welcomed or walked over by a person who was sent off to escort them back. Older man, probably in his late 50s, standing there, shorter build, appears to be like a well-worked man, if you will. He moves forward, kind of now not seeing the body any longer as Kasper has covered him up. And he's introduced this as Charles Lewis. He had found the body early this morning.
Would normally begin with good morning, Mr. Lewis, but obviously it is not a good one.
That's true.
Would you step over here and speak with me for a moment, as this was a friend of mine?
And he will step aside with you.
As we step out of earshot, I want to turn to him and ask him, were you alone when you found him?
I was, yes. Unless you count my dog as a company.
In situations like this, I would. What brought you into this area?
I typically take walks early in the morning. Unable to sleep oftentimes, but also lately out of concern for our goats as well. We've lost a few.
The livestock was attacked. Something had clawed through them.
It looked like... I'm sorry, did you say clawed?
Yes.
I guess you could describe it as that, but and I'm gonna have you make a observation check.
Ooh. 2 dice.
Just to clarify, did you pull him out of earshot of Eleanor as well?
Everyone.
Okay.
I'm going to break an old farmer's heart here in a moment. No successes because I only rolled 2 dice.
Understood. So he looks confused for a moment, but he says, I guess, yeah, one of them did look like they were like attacked or mauled, I guess, but I don't know, it just kind of looked like they'd been something else had gotten to them before I found them.
Myself, my companion that you found here in the lake, as well as my 3 other companions over there, were contacted by your mayor for some of these attacks and people who were hurt. Was there anything out of the ordinary other than Magnus that you noticed in the area that morning?
Once more, Valerio, I'm going to have you make an observation check before he answers. Okay. He's kind of glancing around almost back at your party, but he says, nothing that really comes to mind, no.
Do I feel like he's not answering me completely?
With
like
that observation check?
Feels like he feels like I've distanced him for some reason.
I would say with that observation check, you may feel as though he's maybe uncomfortable at this point. Can't quite pinpoint the reason why.
Okay.
Is the rest of the party doing anything particularly at this point in time?
I think I'm gonna go talk to the Charles. Charles, could you do us a favor? Can you take this back to your residence? We'll take our friend Magnus here. I believe we're going to be trying to find who did this to our friend and the livestock and to your people. So it would help us get on our way.
Understood. And just to clarify, Kasper, what are you wanting him to take back?
Magnus, take Magnus with them to because I assume wherever they're staying is near enough they're able to walk here, and you also describe them as resolute or fit, and so I feel like they would probably be able to do it. So I'm just trying to see if they can bring it back to their residence, and we'd probably come back and pick that up from them at some point.
Understood. He looks a little bit taken aback by the question, but says, typically, would you rather... I'm sorry, was your friend a man of faith? We can always have him taken to the church.
Not that I know of, but the church sounds like a fine place if you could manage it.
Yeah, definitely. We can do that. I'm very sorry for your loss.
No, appreciate it's dangerous work, so. Cigarette.
No, thank you. I'm fine. But he kind of looks towards Valerio. Is there anything else I can answer? Otherwise, I'll work on moving the body.
Are you afraid?
Afraid?
Are you afraid of answers, of telling people exactly what you've seen because it was emotionally draining or detrimental?
I suppose, yeah, that would be a good reason for me. I haven't had to see this before, so.
It's something that we've, this time a friend, but it's something that with investigations that we are asked to look at, we are seeing quite a few times fear. And I'm going to lean forward with 2 coins in my hand and strike fear into the old man.
Okay, perfect. Could you read me the mechanic of that one more time?
Similar to Fear 1, it's either a logic or empathy roll against. If they fail, they're frightened of me. They can use their actions to flee, or I can have them freeze and listen to what I'm saying. But similar to what I did with Maja, I'm trying to speak with something else. I just don't want to do this to Mr. Krabs, especially with his health.
Understood. Okay, so I'm going to have that be... We'll get back to whether or not he was successful. However, so in this moment, you feel like things kind of slow down around you. You kind of hear conversation going on. The tone changes. It drones out. But then you hear the sound of like flowing water and like a creaking boat. And you feel a presence around you. What are you saying?
I don't turn towards the boat. Because I'm afraid to see Magnus on it. Are we already aware of what did this?
There's a pause, and the familiar voice, monotonous as ever. I think there's pieces, but not connected.
Who should I depend on to find the answer?
Just like your old friend, Ulrika, was it? The one whose sight is more than yours.
And let him across for free. And I'll drop my coins into the river as my vision comes back.
And the man you're speaking with, Charles, for a moment there, he looks confused, concerned, and there's like a moment of like, he appears to be stepping back from you, but then steadies himself. He did succeed against fright.
It's good to have control over fear, especially when it means you can help those around you. And I'll turn and head towards Madame Eleanor.
Okay. And the body does start to get moved by Charles and another man who's there helping. They start making their way with the body to the church. And you're hearing conversation around you. There's been, again, some town members who are a bit nosy. Conversation between the mayor, a couple concerned citizens, and Noah as well. What would the party like to do?
I would like to follow the tracks into the woods.
Okay. And will everyone else be joining or other tasks at hand?
I'll be joining.
I'm going wherever Madame Eleanor is going.
There is no dignified way that a 77-year-old can get across that river, huh?
I mean,
I could carry you. I have a physique of 4.
That's true. That I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Based on what I just said. No, I'm gonna go to the church and follow the body.
Okay. So why don't we start with Maja and Kasper following the tracks. Maja, I'm gonna have you make an additional investigation roll. You will have your bonus from Pierogi.
I'm starting to chain smoke at this point.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
I said I'm starting to chain smoke at this point.
Got it.
I don't know if ones are significant, but I rolled 5 ones.
Well, thankfully, the only thing that matters is if it's a 6 or not.
Yay, I rolled 1 6.
Okay, 1 6. All right, good to know. So as you're starting to follow the tracks, you notice that they start going a bit more to the west of where you're at currently. And this is the direction that Charles had walked towards you all from. As you're following, it becomes apparent why there seems to be a lot more tracks that get mixed in with it, as you do see that they have a lot of goats here. You see that it leads back to their farm.
Also, while this is happening, I am using my crowbar to, I'm dragging in the dirt because I don't know Valerio and Eleanor if they're the best trackers, and so at least someone has tracked where we were, so I've just been kind of dragging a crowbar a bit in the dirt.
Absolutely. No check required. There's a very clear line following you two.
So the tracks don't lead from the forest, they lead from the farm?
Thank you. Yes, it seems that the tracks that you were following never went into the forest. They went back to this farm.
Sorry, they went towards the farm or away from the farm?
So where you found the tracks initially, their origin was on the opposite side of the creek. You tracked them. They headed out, paced outside, on the opposite side of the creek, never went into the forest. They went back into the creek and off the opposite side where Magnus's body was at that time, and back to this farm. They seem to originate, the only place that you'd seen them start was near the water.
I'm gonna look around the farm.
Okay. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for with this?
I'm gonna look at the goats, see if any of them are weird. I'm gonna have Pierogi kind of sniff them out, get them animal senses going. And I'll just do a perimeter around the farm. Is it pretty big?
It's a good sized farm, yes. There seems to be a barn where a lot of the goats and some other livestock, I see a couple cows, appear to be stored in typically during the night. There's a small family house, so you notice that there's also a small guest cottage as well.
I'll start around the barn and just kind of look for more tracks, look for any signs of struggle or weird shit.
Weird shit, definitely. Kasper, what are you doing during this time?
I am just looking at structures. So while they're looking at the dirt and maybe the animals, I'm going to be looking at structures, wooden structures. That's Pierogi acknowledging that.
He found a goat.
Yep. And I'm just trying to look for any claw marks or anything. Usually beasts this big will probably not care about man-made structure, and so maybe they're they've torn things while they're around this area. So that's what I'm looking at specifically.
Okay, easy enough. Just for flavor on this one, Kasper, can you make an investigation check?
Yep. That is one success.
Okay, so as you're walking around the buildings, keeping an eye to see if you see any type of strange damage to it, the buildings appear, well, old. They're well maintained. There's normal wear and tear from the elements and weather, but you're not seeing any type of like claw markings, any type of damage to them.
All right, I'm just gonna, after inspecting that, I'm just gonna stick close to Maja.
Okay. And Maja, I would say there's really no check necessary for this with your prior tracking check. You're walking around and you're seeing that you hear the sounds of some goats that are kind of acknowledging your presence, a couple that seem spooked by pierogi, and it's starting to put some distance in between you. And looking around, this is where it gets a little bit difficult for tracking because there is a large amount of livestock here, so everything gets mixed up print-wise.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just look around the other buildings where there are fewer like other animal prints and see if there's anything that stands out.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going to have you, this time I will have an investigation check, and we will return back to you shortly. Eleanor and Valerio, you've been headed back to the church following the body as it was being moved in, and you do see a familiar face to Valerio who is waiting there. Let's see here. I definitely need to find names a bit better on this. Let's see here. Father Morris, who you'd spoken with the previous day, appears to have been waiting and aware of what's occurred. He does do a slight wave at the two of you and says, I wish it were under better circumstances, but good morning. And he kind of nods his head. How can I help? I'm very sorry.
Morning, Father. Do you have any books of stories or of creatures, of folklore?
I do have several inside, actually. Please. And he starts walking towards the front door, opens as it creaks open, and is welcoming you both in if you would like to follow.
Catholic Church?
Yes.
Eleanor is going to reach into her bag and make sure she pulls out just a small cap and puts a little hairpin in, and does a quick sign of the cross and goes in, following behind the father.
And Valerio, you're going in as well?
Right at Madame Eleanor's side, ready and prepared for anything.
Understood. Father Morris does walk you back into the room where you had spoken with him the previous day, Valerio, and he goes around indicating there's a couple bookshelves that appear filled with books of different topics, many religious in nature, seems fitting. Some books that are specific to Wolford, to the surrounding areas, and says, you're welcome to read anything that I have here. Is there anything I can get for you? Do you need any water?
Cloven hooves.
The river.
Do you know anything about them?
And hooves like livestock?
No. Something larger. Able to leave rends in a man.
Eleanor, could you roll an observation check, please?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Thank you.
Ah. Not with that dice. That dice is gone forever.
Also, would like to point out, just walked into the church with a spear in my hand and 10 feet of chain around my shoulder.
None. Not with 7.
Looks at you and says, I mean, nothing comes to mind immediately, no.
Things from the river, forests around it, stories of any kind of interactions with creatures, spirits, things not of this world.
And he looks around somewhat nervously.
Is the body in the room?
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
Is the body in the room?
No, not in the room with you currently. It has not been brought inside. I'm not certain that anything in these books you'll find that'll necessarily relate to these circumstances. No.
And what books of folklore of the area do you have?
He glances over to the bookshelf and goes and grabs a few. They appear to be smaller. Hands them over. He's like, this is mostly collections of a few stories here and there. I think, and he'll open up one. This has to deal with some of the circles along the edge of the forest. I think this one over here, and he starts pushing some others forward. Talk of creatures who help, I guess, for lack of a better term. Little creatures that like to help on tasks. Does that make sense?
I don't think a small creature who helps with tasks would be involved with what may be attacking people and livestock there, Father.
That's fair.
Valerio is very, very obviously different than he was just the day before here speaking with the father.
How many books of folklore does the father have?
He has 4 in his hands currently. He sets them down.
On the shelf, like if I do a quick perusal.
You'd probably see 3 more.
It's an interesting number of books on fey creatures. For a man of faith.
You start collecting them as the town sees fit. I don't necessarily subscribe to the beliefs that are in those.
And how exactly do you interpret what has happened here?
The dangers of living where we live, perhaps. I mean, there's been people who have been in the wrong place at the wrong time with nature that doesn't want us here.
And how do you reconcile that with your God?
How do I reconcile the death with my faith?
No, these creatures that are not in your book there don't have a place in our world.
Okay, I'm gonna have you make a different check this time, Eleanor. Could you make I will let you choose between inspiration or manipulation for this.
Interesting.
Is Eleanor being particularly aggressive with the pastor?
She finds it interesting. She definitely finds it interesting that there is a Catholic priest with 7 total books of folklore that are not in this time period. Very odd. And so she is going to quietly pull out her flask of ale. Of whiskey, rather, not ale. That would be bad. That would be terrible, actually. Don't do that. But she's going to take out her flask of whiskey and offer the man a drink under the guise of just genuinely being curious about his perspective. Hopefully adding a +1.
You will accept. You can add the +1.
And I'm doing inspiration.
Perfect.
So that would be 8, 9. I think that's the biggest roll I can do. 6, 7. Oh yeah. Oh, so many. I think there's 2, 4, 5. 5 successes.
5 successes?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 success is good, 2 successes is better, and this one I will say did require more than 1 success in order to be able to kind of get this individual to open up more, given the topic of conversation and him being a man of faith. His facial expression changes and it seems to soften. What appeared to be a very tense expression on his face has left. He does walk over to the door and he closes it very quickly, locks it, and kind of returns and takes a seat. Well, I have to say you're the first that's asked me so many questions about this. I'm sure you can understand the struggle that a man in my position has when it comes to my own beliefs, my own faith, and needing to be a trusted person in this town. Does that make sense?
Aye.
I've had these books here. I do believe that there are other forces, and that is where sometimes faith can help. I have been fortunate enough in my stead that I haven't had to, but I've known of others who have used faith to protect places. Does that make sense?
Aye.
And I've had people ask questions about how to use faith to protect themselves.
Anyone we know?
I believe you do. And this, I have to emphasize, is only due to the number of successes that you rolled that he is starting to open up with this information.
She's putting on like her best innocent old woman, just genuinely wanting like some guidance.
And you could tell this is like such a conflicted feeling for this man in front of you. There's walls that were up before that have been lowered, and he feels guilty, to say the least. Please do not take this as a statement of me saying someone is guilty of something. He looks away. Young Mr. Davies, Noah has been asking questions.
About how to protect himself?
Yes. He asked, starting a couple months ago, about stories that he'd heard of creatures that will not set foot in sacred ground. And I've heard of creatures previously being repelled by the cross, by the sound of church bells. He's known this much. That's about all I've been able to share. That's about as much as my knowledge is.
Do you think the boy's in trouble?
I worry, as those aren't questions I've been asked before.
Well, it's a good thing we're here then.
Is it the crucifix itself, or is it the cross of St. Peter?
Cross of St. Peter.
The inverted cross. The first pope was crucified, being Peter, the apostle, was crucified upside down as he believed he was not righteous enough to die in the same way as his savior. Is that the symbol you recommended to the child, or was it the crucifixion cross?
I didn't make a specific recommendation for it. His interpretation, I can't say which.
Valerio's been like shorthand noting in the back the conversation.
Now, forgive me, Father, but has been some time since I've been to church. What kinds of creatures might have cloven hooves?
As you're watching his face, I would say no check necessary considering the prior success. He looks as though and says, I don't know specific names, but I've heard of those who are if you will, the top does not match the bottom. Their hooves are different than the rest of their form.
Does that match any of the creatures I looked into for the magic binding runes?
Ooh, let me go ahead and see here. Can you make a learning check for me? I'm also
Yes,
gonna
I
roll really fast.
I'm going to add my advantage from the research, since this would have been part of it.
This is true. Oh yes, everyone did have an advantage. If you have not used it yet, that still is open for this investigation.
Would this fall? I don't think so, but would this fall under either ogres, trolls, and other large beings of note, or a treatise on werefolk?
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that one more time?
Because I've written books on a number of Vaesen, right? So, would this fall under either? I'm just going off the ones that seem to make the most sense. Would this fall under ogres, trolls, and other large beings of note, or a treatise on werefolk, or something having to do with just general fairies?
Understood. So you would feel pretty confident in saying it doesn't necessarily fit there.
Okay.
The two things I would say. Now, this one I will require one more. I'll have either be a learning check with a +1 for your specific background, or an investigation. It just depends on what you would like to use.
I got 2 successes from my learning check.
Understood. So, with that, okay. Valerio, the prior preparations, and I would say even your past experience with other investigations, does not fit this.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Do you happen to have any of those crosses around here, Father?
Yes, I can procure something for you if you need.
Something small. Any made out of metal, steel, or iron?
Iron? Yes, I can definitely get you one.
Appreciate it.
And Eleanor, what was the outcome of that roll?
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were referring to me or.
Oh yes, I apologize.
Valeria.
Yes, that is for Eleanor.
That's totally fine. I'm gonna do investigation. No, none successes.
None? Okay. So, let's see here. While you're trying to think back on your own research, very much like Valerio, you're not really having anything that seems to quite fit where like this missing puzzle piece is. While there's not specific, like definitive answers from Father Morris, he does recall a couple tales of, like, for one, a puka, a shape-shifting trickster. Heard tales about it across the British Isles, taking the form of almost anything, but it does often appear as some sort of like goat with the cloven hooves at times, even a horse or a cow. There's also been mention of a green lady. Now, with that, I would say, Eleanor, there would be some familiarity there, considering Scottish background, correct?
Apparently.
So, with Scottish background, this would be something without check necessary. Tales of green ladies. You've heard of them being present and often humanoid in appearance, but cloven hooved, often hidden. Those are the two things that seem to stand out the most for him.
Okay. Are any of them known to be so aggressive?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't exactly go following after either of them. From what I've heard, the trickster, he's seldom malicious. Like, mostly just that, tricks, not often deadly in nature. Green ladies can depend. Some have been malicious, others have been incredibly helpful.
What would cause a trickster to become angry? Perhaps someone who is looking for protection might know. Looking at Valerio.
Maybe they tricked the trickster.
If there's one thing I know of these fair folk, it's that there's more than meets the eye. You with your spear, no killing. We'll hear its story. I think with that, Eleanor is going to do a gentle nod to the priest. And unless Valerio has something else he would like to do, probably head out.
Just the crucifix. And then you wouldn't happen to have 2 old coins, would you, Father?
Old coins? I'm sure I can find a few of my own. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll just have to mark it myself, but it's to replace the payment I made for Magnus.
Understood. I'll say, for expediency's sake, the father is able to procure a smaller iron crucifix for you to take, and does bring you a couple coins as well. Once more saying his sincere loss, or his sincere condolences for your loss. Indicates that he'll wait unless your party has any specific requests for the body, or if there's any family that will need to be contacted for this. But
Shoot.
we can go ahead and let's get back over, or actually, considering the time, I think this may be a good time for us to take a break before we go back to Maja and Kasper. So just give us a quick 10 minutes so while we get refreshed, and we'll be back for the second half of this adventure. Thank you all so much for watching so far, and we'll see you soon.
You muted.
Again, I am very good at remembering to not mute myself. No, it's a lie. Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the session. Now, before the break, our investigators had unfortunately found out about the passing of one of their own, Magnus Anderson, who did fall victim, what it seems to be, to the creature that they're investigating within the city of Wolford. Now, after some very, very successful checks and conversations, some new information has been gained. We're going to jump back over now to Maja and Kasper. Now, I do also want to say we're getting down into a bit of a countdown aspect right now with this game. There has been things happening concurrently to your investigation and will continue happening just depending on where you're at. So, Maja, Kasper, you were back at the farm. Maja, what specifically were you looking for at the time?
Tracks, any sign of like a transformation, and also like, I'm sorry, but were the tracks leading from the farm to Magnus, or were they from Magnus to the farm?
I would say that your initial tracing of it was from Magnus to the farm. There did appear to be tracks that were somewhat consistent in the area, but that is immediately next to a farm where goats were roaming.
Okay, and there was no sign that goats had been like killed,
No.
anything like that. Okay. Okay, I think I was searching the other buildings because I searched the barn, and then I just wanted to do a loop.
Absolutely. Now, just for flavor, because you did have a successful check previously, can you make an additional investigation check? Now, Mr. Krabb is with you currently. What are you doing, Kasper?
I assume this farm has a farmhouse, like the place where the farmer stays proper.
Yes.
I'm gonna go towards that building and like start looking through the windows, like bedroom window, starting at the bedroom window, and then like the main living area window, and then any other window after that.
Absolutely. Are you trying to be stealthy about this, or not really caring?
Let's be stealthy.
Okay, so go ahead and make a stealth check for me. And Maja, what was the outcome of your investigation?
I rolled it earlier and I got a 1.
A 1? Perfect. Okay, so as you're starting to kind of do checks of the surrounding buildings, looking for tracks, you're seeing a set of tracks that you're following from where the goats are to the small guest house, little guest cottage. Does appear to be going up to the front door.
I'm gonna try to flag down Kasper if I can.
And then I got 1 success.
1 success? Okay. So Kasper, as Maja was following these tracks, you were going to the primary residence of the family who owns this farm, looking through windows, kind of glancing around, trying not to be seen, and successful with that. You don't appear to have anyone's attention aside from Maja trying to get your own. You're glancing through, and some of the windows have coverings on the inside. You see like some fabric, definitely curtains in some areas that maybe appear to be bedrooms. And then you see into the main living area as well. You see that there's a woman that's walking around inside, appears to just be doing daily tasks and cleaning.
Okay. I'll sneakily get back over to Maja because Maja was flagging me down.
Okay.
No. What'd you need?
Are the tracks still hooves as they're going to the... Okay. I'm gonna point at the tracks. It goes here. Into the house.
Good to know. Should we wait for the others? Because I assume that our next steps are to, fucking smash that door in. And...
Can little old librarian lady help with this?
I mean, I just didn't want to assume, so yeah, I don't know much about them.
Can I look in a window?
Yeah, definitely. No check required unless you are attempting to be stealthy.
I definitely am.
Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check.
Ooh, that's 2.
2 successes? Okay. So as you're going around, looking in a few of the windows, some of the windows along the sides of the residence, a few do have curtains, and this is a very small cottage. The one, however, near the front door is slightly pushed aside. You look in and you see a very modest home. It appears just to be 1 bedroom and some very basic amenities to it. You see some movement occurring, but it's just a slight rustling of fabric, as though like there's clothing, like a dress or a jacket, but you're not seeing anything closer.
Okay, I'll come back around to Kasper. There's someone inside.
Yeah, I saw them too. Alright, I've got a plan. If you can send out pierogi and make them bark in a way that makes them perceived by this window, I could be right next to this window, and as that person tries to, do we think this is the person before we start? Because what I was going to do is, as they go peer through the window, smash the window with a crowbar. I got this crowbar. Smash the window, snatch and grab through the window, because obviously I don't think we want to fight them where they live.
I agree. And yes, it leads directly from the corpse to here.
Well, looks like we're getting to work. Stay close by me and, yeah, send pierogi out. Make them bark so that the person looks right through this fucking window, and right when we hear them come up close, smash and grab.
Is there somewhere, like nearby that has a good vantage point on the window that I could shoot from?
Shoot from? This area, there's a bit of distance between this small guest cottage and the barn, and the main residence that Kasper had just been circulating. Nothing that seems to be necessarily covered, but there's open area here.
If I shoot something close by, do I get it like a disadvantage because it's a hunting rifle, or?
It depends. What is the range listed as for your weapon?
That's a good question. 1 to 3.
Depending on the circumstances, if, for instance, Mr. Krabb is also there, I may impose a disadvantage of sorts or a penalty. However, 1 to 3 is pretty much within melee range up to several distances away. So you could attempt it, yes.
Be the first time I got shot at.
Are you going to grab him? Or it?
Yeah, I think I can just smash this fucking window right here and drag him out.
Alright.
Because I don't think you want to be in a closed room with this thing. So I figured open space better. So that was my plan.
Alright. We're gonna die. I'm gonna raise my rifle and I'll take a step back. And I just want to be ready to shoot at something.
Okay.
And I will send pierogi next to Kasper.
Okay. So are you instructing pierogi to begin barking?
Yeah, I say speak, and he starts howling.
Okay. And as pierogi starts howling, let's cut back over to Valerio.
Wow.
For the time being.
God damn it!
I saw your expressions. Let's see what happens here.
I hate this.
So
I hate it.
Eleanor and Valerio, You had just finished speaking at the church with Father Morris. What is the next step for you?
Do we go to the child or do we go back to the rest? I'm taking the old coins from the father and pressing them through the spearhead, making the holes in the center.
If they've been, if the young Master Davies offended one of these creatures, as we may suspect, we do well to know what he did before we engage. I believe. Make right what is wrong.
I'm at your side.
To Noah Davies' house, I guess.
Okay, so as you two head back to the mayor's residence, are you attempting to enter it without being noticed? Or are you just attempting to knock at the front door? What's the plan?
Knocking at the front door. I wouldn't necessarily be, trying to be aggressive or hostile in any way.
Okay. So as you are walking up towards the door, can each of you make a vigilance check for me?
Sure. Nothing wrong with a little check here.
Just a fun little check.
That'd be great.
It's a fun one.
Would this be something that Sniffles could help with? I know his thing is mostly for close combat, but
It's true.
are we looking for something? Or?
I would say this is more so just awareness of your own surroundings. Sniffles would be more helpful in different circumstances.
Well, I rolled a 6, so that's one.
Two
Okay.
successes for Valerio.
Perfect. So, with successes between the two of you, as you're getting closer to the front door, you hear an exchange that's taking place just inside the house. Two familiar voices. One of Noah, who you'd spoken with previously, except for Valerio, you would not recognize his voice, but then also his father, the mayor, speaking between each of them. You're getting bits and pieces of the conversation. It appears to be at the tail end, but essentially a discussion of the mayor's as soon as possible is attempting to get personally involved and going out to seek vengeance, as it just seems to be escalating. He is essentially joining the hunt, if you will.
I see.
Valerio
Okay.
will knock on the door, kind of trying to interrupt the conversation.
Okay. So, knocking on the door, you do hear the conversation stop, and the front door opens. You do see the mayor standing in front of you. Hello. I'm sorry. We didn't get to speak earlier. I'm very sorry about Mr. Anderson. What brings you here?
Madam Eleanor would like to speak with the young boy, your son. And I am here to inform you that we are already in movement on the hunt itself. There's no need for you to join or be a part of it.
He seems a little taken back by this statement. Noah seems to be stepping backwards a little bit. A look of unease on his face. I'm sorry, what business do you have with Noah? And I mean no disrespect. I appreciate you all coming out to help, but this is my town.
And we wouldn't presume to overstep. What my young friend here is trying to say is you wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. So, Noah may have, from what we know, done something to offend this creature. And if we can set it right, this being, which is normally quite harmless, could go back to being harmless. Allowed to live its life away from everyone. Its own natural place. And we ours.
And he glances back at Noah, who seems to look a little offended. And he starts thinking, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. What would I have done to offend a creature?
How do you?
Understand? I don't mean in a traditional sense. These beings are offended by all manner of things. It could be anything. Could be you overstepped somewhere, or took something, or said something in the wrong place, or hunted something you shouldn't have. I'm watching Noah's face for any kind of recognition.
Go ahead and make an observation check.
Anything that, like, I'm throwing out ideas of things that I know would offend Faye, but I'm to hopefully inspire something. Investigation, you said? Or observation?
Observation.
Observation. I'll take it.
And Valerio will say to the mayor, your son's already lost a brother, and you a son. It's safer for you to stay, so that the boy isn't left alone if something does happen to you.
One success? Okay.
Right.
So, Valerio, just to clarify, as this conversation was going on and Eleanor was making this statement, were you speaking concurrently at the same time to the mayor?
Yes.
Okay. So, Eleanor, one success. With that, there are two moments that you see a bit of recognition. One moment recognition and a little bit of annoyance when you say hunted something you shouldn't have. But the second moment is not from something you've said, but something Valerio said. He looked angry when Valerio suggested that his father be careful so he's not left alone.
Noah, you're clearly a grown boy, or man, really, able to take care of yourself. Would you mind speaking to us without your father?
Of course. Yeah. And he looks over at his father and says, I'm sorry, but you need to join. We lost him. That's your job. You're supposed to protect him. And for a moment, he starts backing away, and as though he starts storming down the hallway. You can follow if you would like, Eleanor. Valerio.
I'd to turn quietly to Valerio and say, if he leaves, perhaps it'd be best if you followed. Made sure he didn't get hurt. Not going on some foolhardy hunt. Trying to save this thing.
If he would. And he'll just nod his head. Respect, like, as if he received the highest of orders.
I'll be right behind. Don't worry.
Okay. So, Valerio, you're going to be essentially staying with the mayor, is that correct? Eleanor moving forward with Noah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eleanor, you do follow Noah, and he appears to go to his room at this point. It's just a couple doors down from where you had entered his brother's room when you were doing earlier investigation. But he's pacing back and forth. He's breathing kind of heavily. He seems to just be upset.
Is there a seat in the room?
Yes, there is. There's a small chair next to a desk you're able to sit in.
I'm gonna sit and just shuffle around in my bag and pull out a caramel candy and offer one to him. And if he doesn't take it, I'm just gonna unwrap it and just sit and let him do the work.
He'll take it from you after a moment and like a deep breath, take it, unwrap it, start chewing.
There was something on your face.
Something on my face?
Not physically on your face, but written. Recognition.
What?
Something that perhaps you, or maybe even your brother, did.
I don't know what you're talking about. My brother went off after trying to find whatever was killing the goats, and look what that did for him. He wasn't good at it. He wasn't a good hunter. I'm not surprised.
Do you think you'd be a better one?
I'm not saying that, no. But my father is.
Can you blame your father for this? Oh, you're muted.
I'm disappointed that he called in a bunch of people from outside of our town rather than handling it.
Hi. That's reasonable. You don't know me. I don't know you. I'm here to help. A young man died trying to help.
What are you going to do about it?
Like I said, these things get offended by the smallest things. The rules that we don't understand, they're rooted in the little things. Those little rituals we do, throwing salt over the shoulder, those little things. When you don't do them in the wrong place, something can get offended. Now, I'm not saying it was on purpose or someone is to blame, but this creature is only acting out of protection, trying to live its life. If it is the creature that I think it is, but then all at once is a bit of fun. It's been pushed to do more.
A bit of fun. Look, I don't know anything about what you're talking about in terms of what I could have done, a misstep. I don't know why I'm the focus of this when people have died.
Because in times of fear, we search for things to help us. Is he wearing a cross?
You do not see one on him at first glance, no. If you would like to make a observation check, I would say.
Yeah. Yep, 3 successes.
3?
Yep.
Okay, so while you're looking around for a cross, you see one that looks very similar to the one that Valerio was handed earlier, that he has currently on his person. You see it off, just barely visible under a blanket that's on top of a chest. You see a rifle there as well.
Sometimes we look to people to provide us with protection in ways that are a little bit, shall we say, supernatural, like that cross over there.
You see him stand up from where he was currently seated slightly on the edge of his bed, and he walks over and puts his body between you and the item that you're speaking about. Listen, I don't know what I can say that can possibly help you any further in this. And I don't mean any disrespect, ma'am, but I would like you to leave.
Okay. I'll leave.
Okay. And Eleanor, as this is taking place, Valerio, you had been out in the front with the mayor. Were you attempting to speak with him at all during this time?
I'm trying to keep him there at least until Eleanor comes back. And I'll explain to the mayor. I understand having a man appear at your door with an elderly woman holding a spear with 10 feet of chain and a cross attached to it is kind of unsettling when they're asking to speak with your son. But taking into consideration the fact that people have died, livestock has been taken, and you reached out to us, our organization, to help you solve these problems, I would expect a bit more faith.
And as he's glancing around, he appears to almost be sweating a little bit. I appreciate you and the other investigators of the Rose House coming out. It meant a lot, being answered regarding this. And I hope that you're able to find some information, but I feel like it's a source of pride at this point. But my son was the one who died. And now I have my other son looking at me as though I'm doing nothing for him. And I need to be a pinnacle of strength for my family and for this town. And watching people come in that were supposed to help, now being the ones getting killed, another hunter, nonetheless. I apologize if you're...
The one before your son was a son to someone else, and they did not move so hastily because they had faith in you. And when your son was taken, you put your faith in us to look into this. Your other son has looked for faith, not only in you, but in the church, looking for ways to save you and himself, to keep you all safe. If you wish to move forward and go and fight, and Valerio will put his spear out towards the mayor, understand that a blade is double-sided. You go to fight, you put yourself in just as much jeopardy of death as you wish to inflict upon the person at the other end. Are you willing to accept your death and leave your son alone? Or have faith in us and our capabilities?
My son is more than capable of caring for things after I'm gone.
But are you capable of leaving him with the pain of losing his brother and his father? I'm not a man of emotion. Far beyond it. I was trained to be the way that I am. Have you trained your son to be okay with you dying?
I believe I have. Do you have sons, daughters?
Nephews, nieces, no sons, no children. But I've watched them be trained in the same way I was. But I don't believe that they're ready. I know that they are ready. I know we have found something. And I know that woman who walked past you may not appear as much more than an old rider, but I believe in what she has seen and what she knows. And I know what she has seen and what she knows will lead to us solving this without your life having to be on the line.
I hear you. Though, not that I need to justify my actions to you, I've lost a child. No matter how old he was my child, and now I have my other child looking at me and expecting me to step in. And if that, like you said, risks my death, then at least I'm doing something. And my son has a better perspective of me.
Then teach him instead that accepting help does not make you weak or lesser of a man. That accepting, standing aside for the preservation of more than just your pride is okay.
And as that sentence is ending, Eleanor has exited into the hallway, and you see her heading towards you.
Madam?
How tall is Mr. Davies?
Noah or his father.
The father.
He is about 6 feet tall.
Just gonna walk right up to him and just look up at him and say, "Pride will be your downfall. You don't know what you're dealing with. You can't go killing every problem you have before everything around you is dead.
I'll take today to consider to talk with the people of my town and with my family. If there is any more direction I can provide, though, again, I've been as forthcoming with information as I can be. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That is not.
And he goes over and he opens the front door.
I thank you for your hospitality in your home and your town.
And he kind of motions for the two of you to exit the residence. Okay. So, a quick question, Valerio and Eleanor, where are the two of you headed next in this time frame?
I would, unless Valerio has an objection, I would suggest going to following. Dignity be damned. Carry me across the river.
As you wish, madam. And we'll start making our way towards the river then.
Okay. As you're starting to head south once more, hoping to cross over Hollowcreek, let's go back over to Kasper and Maja. So, Pierogi has started howling, barking, and Kasper, as you're standing off to the side, you're attempting to essentially ambush any figure that comes to this window, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so stealth check, please. And it's going to be against this individual's vigilance.
Here we go. I think that for me is it's not plus, but it's 4 altogether. Yep, it's 4 altogether. So let me do that. I have a success.
Okay. 1 success?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so as Pierogi starts howling, barking, Maja, about how far back are you? Or are you close?
I want to be out of sight of the window a little bit.
The window? Okay. So you can try your best to angle. Of course, being out of sight of the window also does limit your visibility of the window. Does that make sense?
I guess just kind of off to an angle.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be immediately visible to somebody.
Perfect. That's fair. Okay. So, Kasper, as you're standing on this out to the side of the window and you have Pierogi in front of you howling, barking, you do hear movement on the opposite side, and you see the cloth that was in front of the window start being moved over. You see like a very pale hand holding it as it's pulled back. You see a woman's face, long blonde hair, and she's looking out as her breath starts fogging up the window slightly.
Smash window. Come over here.
Okay, we're doing it. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and...
My heart is not in my chest anymore.
Amazing. So let's go ahead and... First of all, this is going to be a force check.
Yeah, I was looking at it. Looks like there's a grapple thing. Wrestle, push, grapple, which is a force skill, it says. So,
yes.
What do I need to roll?
Let's see. Force, grapple. Let's start with force, first of all, because you're attempting to break open this window.
I have 7 of that, so, looks like 4 successes.
Okay. Fantastic. 4 successes is enough to, as you're going through, and you said were you taking the crowbar to try to
smash the yeah, I was gonna smash the window, and honestly, I do have an axe, so I was actually gonna just like try and like put their body like over the window enough, like we're like kind of half their bodies up, and then like come in next with like an axe to kind of just lop their like, unless they react in a different way, like. We don't I feel like this could be the Vaesen. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Just straight with the axe.
So
We're only two of us, and if this is like a big Vaesen, like you gotta do stuff. I hope it's not the wrong person. Like that's the only thing I'm considering now.
just a little bit of murder. No big deal.
Things get messy when you're murdering
Kasper,
Vaesen.
just because like you've introduced the fact that this may be the Vaesen specifically, this is not your first time that you've encountered a Vaesen. This is at least the fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
Now, in previous circumstances, you've only gotten into combat with a Vaesen once before.
Yep.
And that Vaesen was not in your immediate vicinity, as it was being controlled by something else.
That's true.
Yes. So this would be your first time actually potentially being in combat with a Vaesen. Go ahead, and the force check already happened. Was successful. You see the figure who is like shocked clearly as glass just starts breaking around them. As they're starting to lean back, you are attempting to grapple, is that correct?
Yeah, grapple them like through the window.
Okay, so this is going to officially start combat.
Sure.
For the three of you, four, including Pierogi. So combat's a little bit different. Instead of you guys rolling, it's typically done by playing cards at a table. And based on how you draw, it would determine what the initiative is. So I just have pieces of paper with your guys' names written on them and see who starts when. So let's see here. Kasper, Maja, and Maja, I'm gonna have Pierogi follow your initiative. Okay, so I'm drawing these, shuffling them. Who is going to go first? I'm going to consider this as a surprise round, if you will. I don't know if that's an actual mechanic in Vaesen, but that's what we're going to do. I feel like that's appropriate. So first one.
Everyone's very scared, and I'm just like, I'm just full commit. Like I can't be scared, so y'all can be scared for me, to be honest.
So Kasper,
this lady's
you're
head
actually
off.
first.
Okay. So yeah, I'm first, you said?
Yes, you'll be first.
Pulling them through, and then like if I am successful pulling most of their body through, I don't want them all the way through yet. But I'm going to, if I have time, to raise my axe up high and just look at them to see if like I see anything that's like Vaesen-esque, because obviously I don't want to just like, I still don't know if this person's legitimate a Vaesen.
Got it. Okay, so combat. Essentially, you're going to have one slow action and one fast action per little cheat sheet that I sent you. Grappling, if that's your first instinct to try to pull this individual out, is going to be a force check of a slow action. Now, if you're wanting to attack, that will have to wait until your next turn.
Yeah.
As that's another slow action.
You're right. Yeah, so the first one was to grab, and then so fast action. There is a hold, so I guess I had them grappled, but I feel like grapple just means like maneuvering someone to one place to another where they don't want to be, because there's a different one called a hold.
Yeah, so hold essentially, I would say, similar to how, like, for instance, if you're going to attempt to dodge or parry, that's considered a fast action reaction. If you're attempting to hold a slow action, that would be essentially both your fast and slow actions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so now I'm using my hold as a reaction, so I assume because on their turn they're going to not want to be where they currently are because they're pretty vulnerable. So yeah, I guess I'm going to hold as a reaction. My reaction is going to be hold when it comes to their turn or whatever. So yeah, I guess that's how that's working.
Just to clarify, essentially how I am interpreting hold for a fast action is, for instance, if you're wanting your primary action to be a slow action, but it needs to be triggered by something, you're holding your slow action because that fast action is inherently a reaction.
Okay. So whatever I need to do to get them in a position where I could just like, if I figure out that they're a Vaesen, I can just lop their head off.
Okay, so this is going to need to take place over 2 turns, 2 rounds of combat. So first one's going to be a grapple. So go ahead and make a force check.
Okay. Is that not what I just did, or is that something different from what I did?
The first force check was to break the glass.
Oh,
Now you're
gotcha.
in combat.
Okay, got it. So I was successful at that. Please God. I have
Don't
2
miss.
successes.
2 successes?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say it's going to be against.
This is
I
like
look so excited, Jazz. Kasper might die.
I'm so ready.
You're so ready for me to die? Wow. Okay. Very cool. You know, you
I'm
invite
sorry,
some people to a game and they just want to watch you die.
Just how it happens
Gloriously.
sometimes. Let's see here. We are going to have.
I don't want to see you die.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Okay. So this is against. Okay.
That sounded like a fair number of dice.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kasper, as you are leaning in, can you tell me exactly how you're trying to grab this individual?
So after they got smashed, or after I smashed the window, I'm just trying to grab them, and really, like, if there are like shards of glass that are still like kind of at the bottom part of the window, like I'm trying to like grab them, kind of like kind of skewer them a little bit with those and pull them out at the same time. Like this is like very visceral, very aggressive violence. Purposeful violence.
Okay. So, Kasper, as you reach in with both arms to try to pull this individual in, you see once more appears to be a woman, long blonde hair, fair skin, looking at you. And she looks shocked at first, but then when your arms go around her and you start pulling her forward, she shifts and stops.
Oh, that's not good.
You have her in your arms currently, but you have not pulled her out.
Okay.
So, you also have a fast action, unless you would like to save that for potentially dodging, parrying, etc.
Yep, we'll see what that's probably gonna be there. So, yep.
Okay. Next up is Maja.
Just shoot me.
And Pyrrha.
Can I
End it
see
quickly.
the figure?
From your angle, you do. However, she is not pulled out of this of the residence, and Mr. Krabb is currently like immediately on her.
Does she
So-
look? What is her face doing?
It looks irritated.
But like in
Surprisingly not
like
hurt.
oh god, but just like
Just irritated and like not necessarily aggressive yet.
Heaved.
okay. Fuck. All right.
I feel like if someone's peeved, they're definitely the best. And like they're not like shocked or scared. They're just
yeah,
like,
it's like
this is a
come on.
Dragged them through glass. You got a hatchet over their head, and they're just irritated.
Can I see how much of her body can I see?
Oh gosh, that Mr. Krabb is not currently covering. You see like part of her face as he's like holding her immediately in front of himself, and like a bit of her shoulder. So you have a view of her, but her body is covered by him.
Okay. Can I'm holding my rifle. Can I just wait until I see her get aggressive and potentially have a clear shot?
Yes. So essentially, you'll be using your hold fast action reaction to shoot. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So I'll be at a ranged attack with a ranged weapon. Okay, perfect. And is Pierogi doing anything at this time?
Can Pierogi jump up and like grab the claw? Is she wearing something?
Yes, she is wearing, from what you can see at this angle, it's potentially just potentially a long sleeve shirt or jacket. It's green in color, kind of worn.
Okay. Can Pierogi jump up and like grab onto the shirt and like tug it?
Yes, I would say so. Let's go ahead and Pierogi. So is Pierogi going to be essentially trying to assist Kasper?
Yeah.
Okay, so he'll grant a bonus to Kasper's next action. Okay. And next up is going to be the individual that is currently being grappled by Kasper. You see this face looking at you, irritated and annoyed, and starts like trying to strain out of your grasp. And she's going to try to, let's see here. Okay. I apologize, just 1 second.
Tension is killing me.
I got like spooky vibe, like YouTube going on. It's matching like all the trills and all the suspense. It's like matching up. So I'm there.
Don't you die on me, Mr. Krabs.
Currently, the first action is going to be a fast action of trying to break free of your grip. So this is going to be a contested force check, if you will. So go ahead and roll your force.
Not bad. 3 successes.
Okay. So as the woman's looking at you and she starts struggling and you feel like a weird amount of strength coming from her arms, you focus and you're able to hold her still at this point. And let's say... that is going to be it from her for now. Kasper, it's back to you.
Okay. I am gonna continue with my plan of just pulling. God, I don't know if I should just start damage or keep trying to go with the game plan.
Well, Pierogi's helping you pull.
Yeah, we have to just get her out of there. We can't. If I get pulled in, we're both in a but also they're indoors, so they'd have to still come out to get us, and you have a shot. Like you'd have a shot before we start. Also.
Yeah.
So I think I actually am going to, instead of doing this, because I was trying to do it for the first thing, I think, and I don't think they see you, so I'm going to just get my hatchet and just like go for the head, like.
Okay, go ahead and make a close combat.
Yeah.
Check.
It's doing a murder.
4 successes, hopefully, is good.
4 successes? Okay.
Yeah, this is like the highest stat I have. Is like just
my god.
This guy is just. He's not good at many things. He's good at bashing. Okay,
so let's go do this really fast.
I think that's how because I roll. I do close combat 2, physique 4. No, plus my axe, so another 1, because that's also another 2. So yeah, it's still 4 successes. I roll 8 when I use my axe. I use 8 dice.
Got it. Okay, so yes, it is going to be taking some damage towards this person, this individual, if you will.
That old man strength, you know?
So as you bring up the axe and you're bringing it down, attempting to aim for this individual's head and neck, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some resistance that you feel as you are making this attack. It's not quite as successful as you expect. Mm-hmm. But it does cut into the shoulder of the woman as you're holding her. Maja, you're able to hear her cry out in pain, and you see blood starting to pool down. Her facial expression starts to get a furrowed brow. She starts looking definitely aggressive at this point. And Kasper, were you still attempting to pull?
Nope. I did that. I'm removing the axe and like yelling out, definitely the Vaesen. And I'm just like, I'm taking the axe out and also like in one motion, axe off and swinging and grabbing Pierogi by the torso and just like dusting, like just trying to get away from the house. Cause like, I feel like if they're irritated, they're going to come and chase. And so I'm just trying to get distance now so that Maja has a good shot. And then, but I'm also like trying to get a good distance where I can square up and leave distance between. There's many things going on. Those things, getting the pierogi out of there, leaving to look like I'm fleeing, but trying to find a nice vantage point to like take up a stance and have clear shots for Maja. So those are the things I'm trying to do.
Got it. Okay. So, given there's no more reaction for this individual to use, you're able to take some of your, I think, a fast action for moving into the next zone. So you're able to move back, let's say, about 15 feet with pierogi being pulled at this point, and it is going to go to Maja.
Okay. So she wasn't pulled out at all by that.
No, she was not pulled out. She's more visible now at this point as Kasper had put distance between them. So your held action, if you would like, you can still take before technically your turn begins.
Okay. Can I... Do I have a clear view of her face?
Yes, at this point you do.
What do I get from it? What do I read here?
I understood. So she looks like an attractive young woman who's standing there now bleeding out on one side. And her eyes are fixed on Kasper currently. She has not taken notice of you, but she is staring him down and she looks very angry.
Okay. How much of her body can I see? Is it just kind of her upper torso?
Yeah, you see probably from her waist up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to aim a non-lethal shot, like at her shoulder.
Okay, go ahead and do your ranged combat check.
Okay.
Wow, non-lethal. Yeah, I'm dying. Someone's not on the program.
Oh man, okay, that's good. That's really good. That's like 10 dice. And yet only one success.
Okay, one success. Let's see. Okay. Now, Maja, that does hit. Now on the opposite shoulder from the one that Kasper had just hit, you see blood now emanating down. It kind of splattered off to the side. And as she has a bit of recoil back, and she now looks over and she's now focused on you. One big difference, she seems more upset with you than with Kasper now. There's like a moment of recognition almost.
Do I recognize her?
You've seen her in passing. A woman that walked by you as you were outdoors, walking down the alley, who did not seem to pay much mind to you, but you have passed her.
Okay. I'm gonna take a couple steps back.
Okay.
I already shot, so can I...
That was your held action. So technically this was still during Kasper's turn.
Okay, so I do have my fast and
You
slow
do have
still.
that was your previous round, now you're at the beginning of your own.
Okay, if she seems angry and like recognizing me, then I'm gonna shoot her again.
Okay. Go ahead and make another ranged combat check.
lethal this time. Also, because,
And do Valerio and Eleanor hear the gunshots?
Yes, actually, since that first gunshot has happened, Eleanor, Valerio, as you're headed south, I would say you're probably about a few minutes at most away from this. You hear a gunshot. At first, I would say you actually heard the scream of a woman's voice, and then shortly after, you heard a gunshot.
And how long is a round in this game?
I would say it's probably a similar time frame to what you're used to in like D&D, like 6 seconds around.
Love that for us. Yeah. This is great. I shuffle faster.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
I pick Eleanor up and start running.
That's fair. And since now everyone is aware of this, I will go ahead and shuffle the two of you into initiative essentially with this. And you can take, rather than being minutes and rounds away, your actions essentially can be to moving up a zone, if that makes sense. Okay, awesome. So
I'll use my slow action every turn to move another zone if possible.
absolutely.
Because I was first told to protect Maja, now I'm protecting Maja and Eleanor. I tried to fix Kasper's tuberculosis.
Ain't no fixing me. I'll just...
What's happening? Okay, so that's a little bit different. Surprisingly, Eleanor and Valerio, you're technically top of initiative right now together. After that, it goes to Maja, then Kasper, then the enemy. So, I assume you're moving forward a zone, is that correct? Okay, perfect. There's some movement, there's some shuffling occurring for Eleanor.
Valeria picked me up, apparently.
Okay, perfect.
I would like to whistle for Sniffles to dash forward for us and go ahead.
Okay.
I'm assuming Sniffles can go faster than we are.
Yes, I would say so. Just for expediency's sake, because time frames are important, I'm going to say it's going to take you approximately 2 rounds, including this one, to get there. And on your 3rd round, you may interact.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
So now that brings us to Maja.
Yeah, that was 4 successes on my chat.
4. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be dealing a little bit more damage to it. The shot, as it goes through, hits just a little bit further down the arm than your first shot did. And at that point, you do see that the figure has shifted backwards. It's knocked her back a little bit. But you know you've struck her at this point. Is there a fast action you would like to take?
What am I near at this point?
I would say you're somewhat still a little bit out in the open. There's a couple trees that are nearby that are almost like parallel to the house. You're probably about 15 feet away from Kasper and Pierogi. The closest things to you if you're trying to attempt to like hide are going to be those trees about 15 feet.
Okay. When I saw her, did I feel like I recognized her like on a deeper level than just passing by?
No.
Okay. Okay, I'll take another step back and just keep my rifle raised.
Okay. Perfect. Next up, Kasper.
Just want to see if there's any just in case they try and stay inside, is there any flammable stuff outside of the house? Like,
you would see a small pile of like stacked firewood off to, let's say, the eastern side of the house.
Is there anything to start that fire? Because I don't think I have anything. I do have cigarettes.
Yeah, there's nothing outside that you're seeing.
Oh no. I do have. Okay. Okay.
First a murder, now an arson.
Killing Vaesen is never pretty. Have you killed? Anyone here kill Vaesen? Nah, just me.
No,
Okay.
never. In fact, not one.
All right. I'm going to. Fuck. Yeah, if there's. I know there's that firewood. I don't know how dry it is, if it's really dry, and if there's any like dry grass too. I guess I'm going to grab that stuff, get my mint tin that has all the cigarette stuff in it, mix it with the dry grass if it's there, and just like light that up on fire and like throw it inside the house, and also throw some logs in the house, maybe.
Okay. So I will say the wood that's off to the side, you would recognize it's seasoned wood. It's ready to be burnt at this point. There's some grass, not necessarily dry grass,
Shit.
as it is somewhat of a rainy season currently.
Yep, sure.
Are you going to attempt to start a fire outside on this round?
It's not gonna work.
You can definitely try it. I'm not meaning to sound like it's a discouragement.
Do I have booze? I don't have booze on me. There's someone in the party who has booze, but they're not here. Okay,
Help is on the way, dearie.
Do we know? We did look like around the house too.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if there's only one entrance, or is there multiple entrances and exits of the house?
This one is probably not up to fire safety standards, in that it is just the one entrance.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. You know what? I am gonna do this. I'm gonna grab a log. I'm gonna go to the door, and I'm just gonna put my body onto the door, to stop them from trying to barge through. And I'm gonna try and get this fire started, honestly, because
Okay, you're trying to barge into the house.
No, I am trying
sorry.
to keep the door closed on the
door
house.
closed. Oh, keep the door closed. I apologize. Okay, so you're essentially just trying to hold it shut for the time being.
Yeah, while I try and start a fire apparently right in front of me so that I can throw that inside of the house.
This is a very unique one that's not necessarily outlined in typical fast or slow actions.
I'm so sorry.
You're totally good. I love it. Inventiveness. So let's go ahead and say this is going to be a force check for attempting to keep the door shut. And then let's see. A little bit different. Let's do agility for your attempt to quickly light a fire.
Okay, so for the door thing, 2 successes for the door, and then agility. Okay, so that plus that 3. I only have 3 of that. 3 d6s for that. So 1.
Okay. So as you are moving forward, as you hadn't gotten very far, it wasn't even necessarily like a full zone away. You were trying to start a very quick fire off to the side.
And I'm using all my cigarette stuff to.
All your cigarettes are being wasted on this attempt. As you're starting, it's successful. Like you get a small a spark, fire starting to catch on to some like loose twigs, and then the larger piece of wood that you were able to grab. That holding the door shut is going to be something that'll be a check if it's if something goes against it.
Yep.
So for the time being, you've acquired that. Okay.
Sweet.
Perfect. Now, next up is going to be the enemy. Kasper. The door I had pre-rolled. How many successes did you have again for the force? 2. Okay. So with that roll, as you are just now having the fire, essentially you're trying to keep it off to the side, ready to interact with it at the next round, and you have your right hand holding shut the door as much as you can at this point. You start hearing footsteps on the opposite side, and this door opens. Your weight goes with the door at this point. And as you're getting pulled in, your head hits the ground. You look over and you see like green dress in front of you, but you hear the sound of hoofs, not of typical footprints. So
Cool.
see the figure as it's looking down at you, and it starts focusing, its head tilting to the side, and it starts speaking, and it sounds like it's speaking, let's see, Gaelic. Now, the fire that you had off to the side begins growing, and you are in the process of being caught on fire. So,
Oh, fantastic.
there is a curse that's coming into play for this. So the curse is going to be, let's see here. This is so exciting. I haven't had to use a curse from a Vaesen against a player before yet.
Wow, exciting. I'm on fire. Okay,
I love
continue.
that for you.
Magic to see. So if you curse, let's go ahead, and this is going to be fire. Make a force check. It's going to be a contested check between your force and its magic.
Oh, okay. Force check. Okay, that's not bad. I have 7 d6s for that, so
That's pretty good, actually, against this.
2 successes.
2 successes. Okay.
And Bree picks up 12d6.
Okay. So, as you're looking over to the side, you see that your pant leg is catching on fire.
Okay.
You are going to be taking, let's see here. Crazy fire by 1 step. A lot of jumping around in terms of this mechanic. You are going to, because you're still suffering a condition, correct?
Nope. That got cleared.
Oh, thank you. So, let's say, okay, you are going to be taking essentially 1 damage, so 1 condition for this.
I will take battered as that.
That was going to be the one I suggest, so yes.
Yep.
It is going to be a physical condition battered at this point.
Yeah.
Maja, you do see that Kasper has essentially been flung to the ground. Part of his body's no longer visible to you because it's inside the building, and the fire he had started is now catching onto his pant leg.
Should have stuck with the plan. All right. Well. Yep. That's not that. That's yep.
Yep. And let's see here. But okay. That'll be it for the enemy. So Eleanor and Valerio, you're going to be moving forward again. Perfect. One more zone. You are now able to see this small guest house. You see Maja standing off to the side with a rifle, pierogi nearby, and Kasper is laying on the ground, and you do see a fire that's right next to him. Next up is Maja.
Great. So I don't see her anymore, right?
No, you do not see her. It seems she's moved from the window and is technically between the window and where the door opening is.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna run over to the door with pierogi.
Okay.
And Casper's like kind of in the doorway.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, when I get over there, do I see, is she like grabbing him or?
She does not have him grappled or grabbed at this point. You do see there's a fire though.
Okay. I'm just gonna grab Kasper With the help of my dog.
Okay, go ahead and have this be a force check with an additional 1 for pierogi.
Okay. I'm bad at that. I have nothing. Okay. Oh, I got 1.
Okay, so you're able to start grabbing at Kasper and pulling him out. I would say with the success, you are able to avoid and pierogi the pant leg of Kasper that's currently on fire, and start pulling him out. You're being drugged at this point backwards, Kasper.
Could I try to get him to his feet?
To a seat? Yeah, I would say you can. You can't get him completely stood up though.
Okay, I'm just gonna pull him as far back as I can.
Okay. But
I assume
technically
that's my whole.
Oh yes, you're still technically within the same like zone as this person. So, but yes, you're able to pull him back. That would be both your fast and slow action.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Perfect. And next up, Kasper.
I am going to try and take those fiery pants off and throw them into the house.
Okay.
Kindling started, the pants were on fire. You just you take the pants off, you throw them inside.
Okay, definitely. Go ahead and I'm gonna say have it be an agility check.
Okay, I'm not good at that, so. But I also have to get these pants off at some point.
If it changes your perspective at all, you can make a force check to attempt to extinguish it.
Oh, I got you.
I didn't think that sentence would be said in this game.
Vaesen, hey, anything goes when you're hunting Vaesen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
right.
to get these pants off.
I like that pants coming off was first before trying to put it out. His pants off. No, sorry.
Straight for it.
Things can go from really bad to worse here, and I'm taking damage, so I guess I'll just use my
Bad
force.
to worse now.
Yeah. I'm gonna
okay.
use my force to just put it out and retreat back with Maja.
Okay, sounds good. So, did you roll a force check yet?
I'm going to. So
Okay.
force.
It will require 1 success to extinguish it.
Yeah, I got 7 dice for that. So hopefully one of them. Yes, one of them was successful.
Hey.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you're able to start patting at the pant leg and like put dirt on it from it's around you, and it starts you feel the burn. There's definitely a burn on your leg still, and it stings. It's painful, but it's out now. And you're taking your fast action to back up further. Okay, you can move up to 1 zone away. That'll take us back to the enemy here.
Oh no, but you're in range of it. Actually, I don't. I have to stay there. I can't move out of range without Maja there. Yeah, I'll stay in range. I'll stay in range.
Okay, so you will still have your fast action, technically. You can choose to take a different fast action or hold it for a reaction as necessary.
I'm gonna make sure I'm in front of... I'm gonna make sure I'm in front of Maja. And yeah, I'm gonna save one of my reactions, my fast ones.
Okay, sounds good. Next up is the creature. She starts walking outside and up to both of you. Let's see here. And because this particular creature has been dealt so many conditions, they are currently in an unyielding rage. So their current goal is to attempt to grapple and tear at anything near it. Right now, Kasper, you were in front. Is that correct?
Fuck.
Okay. So that will be... Okay. Kasper, would you like to try to use your fast action to dodge? Because there are several successes.
Is dodge the only option I can take?
Dodge or parry?
Parry.
As well.
I will do parry because that's
Okay.
8d8. That's 8d6s rather. So
Yes, they'll come in for. So
I will do 8 because I will use my axe to parry.
okay.
Oh god.
Cute one.
That's just 1 success there, so you know.
One success? Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, just 1 second.
I might be out already.
He's gonna hand you a blank character sheet right now.
Mm-hmm.
Parry, use agility dodge. Parry. Okay, so we'll deduct 1 success from it. However, this creature is fast. This creature is strong. And as she moves towards you with absolute intent in her eyes, and you see what looks like, aside from the hooves, appears to be just a normal woman. Then she reaches her hand out, and it almost looks like it distorts and elongates. And she moves forward and tears at you. You're able to back up a little bit, but you feel a very significant gash across your chest. And she goes again with her other arm as it goes across the opposite side of your shoulder. You are suffering 2 more conditions.
Oh.
Currently. So you are currently at all 3.
Yep, that's right.
Conditions. If you suffer 1 more physical condition, you will take a critical injury.
Yep.
Yes. So that is it for the creature's turn. Eleanor and Valerio, you are now in this, everything as just described you have witnessed. You are 1 zone away, so you would have to move up a zone if you want to get into melee range, or you could take ranged actions with this. What would you like to do, Eleanor?
Well, I have no ranged actions. I'm going to try. This thing doesn't look like it's reasonable at all right now.
It looks absolutely filled with rage. Unyielding rage, if we're being specific.
Okay. Then I am going to... Am I able to get to melee range?
Yes, you would use your fast action to move up a zone, and then you could get within range.
Then I'm going to run forward, and I'm going to interpose myself between Maja, Kasper, and this creature. And I'm going to put my hands up, look over my shoulder, and say, "Run." And that's my turn.
Okay.
Wait, are you saying that to us or the Vaesen?
No, to you.
Oh.
The fuck?
Threatening the Vaesen. Run.
No, it's a... I'm putting myself on the line. Go.
Absolutely. Get out. Okay. So, were you wanting to take any type of slow action? That's just accounting for your fast action.
You'll relook at this cheat sheet here. I don't think there's anything I can do. A slow action.
You could persuade.
I am going to attempt to persuade it to calm down.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's even possible, but we're going to try.
Go ahead and make a manipulation check.
Offered a glass of whiskey. Is that going to work again? No, that's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. Okay. That's 2 successes. Yeah, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay.
I'm gonna try to be like doing the, you know, less of like talking it down and more of like a, you know, showing it all of the submissive things and like, you know, a parent trying to save its children.
Okay.
kind of gesture.
Okay. So just to clarify, right now the intent is that you are not taking aggressive action against this
No.
creature. You're just attempting to interpose yourself
Yes,
and dissuade any further action.
that's right. And
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So as you're watching it, it doesn't appear as though it's getting any more calm than what
I
it
didn't
is.
think so.
However, it doesn't even really appear to be. It looks at you momentarily, or she looks at you momentarily, and kind of was angry. Her look softens, looking at you as though you're not taking any action against her, but she still is not backing away. Next up, Valerio.
Oh God. My whole purpose and motivation for my character is to protect oracles. Through and through, no question about it. So I will move in and push Eleanor back towards Maja. I'll hold the chain that has the crucifix on the front, hanging down in front of me, with the spear over the hand, like spear over shield, as Spartans do. And protect the oracle, as is my motivation.
Got it. So as you're moving forward, attempting to push Eleanor back, Eleanor, are you going to be trying to give any resistance to this?
As much as I can.
Okay, so I'm going to have this be contested force checks.
No.
4 successes.
Okay. So, Eleanor, you see Valerio coming up beside you. You feel pushed back. A very, very strong force of a man against a body that's seen many years, and you stumble backwards almost into Maja, into Mr. Krabb. No damage taken, of course. However, Valerio, as you're starting to have your spear pointed at this creature, this person, we'll be specific, this Vaesen at this point, and the crucifix shown, there's a moment of rage directed at you, but then her body starts wanting to move backwards as she takes note of the cross.
In Latin, just quickly said, I will keep them safe. And it's just repeated over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay. And Maja, your turn.
Does this creature look like the creature I'm hunting?
There are some similarities, but the creature that you're hunting is a different form. There's some similar aspects to how like nature and the form of this body has changed that you're used to. And oh my gosh, all right, thank you all so much for joining. Thank you. You are just in time for some combat in Vaesen. They're going up against a Vaesen. We'll see if they're gonna die. I might have slipped there for a minute. But anyways, Maja, this does not appear to be the same type of creature that you've hunted or had encounters with in the past.
Okay, so basically everybody is between me and this Vaesen at this point.
At this point, yes.
Okay.
We'll say I am in like a half crouched, like moving forward, holding the chain with the spear.
And I'm not back. It doesn't look like I'm backing down at any point. Like I know what Eleanor said, but Kasper, he's ready to dance. You know, he's still there.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of move around a little bit so I can get kind of a side view a little bit. And I'm just gonna yell, "How many have to die?" And I'll keep my rifle pointed. And I just want to hold it until I have a clear shot.
Got it. Are you going to be using your fast action essentially to hold a shot? If you're saying specifically to wait for a clear shot, you can use your fast action essentially just to maneuver around and your slow action to shoot if that's what you would prefer to do.
Yeah, then I will... Can I aim specifically at, like, her legs?
Yeah, I would say so. There will be a penalty for, like, very specific area shooting, though.
Okay.
So I would say a -1, so 1 less die for your ranged combat.
Okay. That is 2.
2 successes? Okay, there is going to be an attempt to dodge. Okay. You do shoot it in the leg. It starts stumbling back a little bit further, already caught off guard by Valerio presenting the image of the cross. But you do deal it an additional condition. So it starts looking up, and difficult to say where it started, but there's now a look of panic on its face. Next up is going to be Kasper.
I'm gonna say to Eleanor,
"Oh no, no, no! None of us are going anywhere till this job is done."
and I'm gonna just like battered, beaten, and bruised. I'm going to just walk forward slowly. Old man, that's the old man part is the only thing carrying forward. The old man stubbornness. Really, physically, he shouldn't be doing this, but we're doing it. And I'm going to just strike it at the just strike it. Just try and take it out of its misery, my misery, everyone's misery.
Okay, so depending on if you're making a close combat check, this is considered a physical check, so you will be needing to take a penalty of -3 because you're suffering 3 physical conditions currently. If that puts you at anything, you have to roll at least 1 die, though.
Well, I'm using my axe. I'm using my axe, and it's close combat, which is 2 plus my physique. So usually I have 8, so it's going to be -3, which is just 5.
5, okay, yes.
Yeah. This is what Kasper Krabb is. That's what he does. This is what he does. That's all he's got. 1. I got 1 success only.
1 success?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where were you trying to strike?
Where it looks most vulnerable, like any place that looks open. I'm not trying to be specific. It's just at this point, you know, she looks like there's a nail. You're just trying to hit her with a hammer. That's all that's happening.
Okay. So as their reaction was already used this round in order to dodge Maja, they're unable to do so now. As you go forward and you have seeing it starting to look panicked, and as you're moving forward with your axe, you lunge and just hit it center mass. Right in its gut, it starts leaning back and blood is starting to pool out. And it looks... The look of panic turns to a look of sadness, and she looks pain. And as she's looking in your eyes and she looks over, you hear the sound of a goat. Her body dissolves into a pale mist, and what was there is no longer present. But you are out of combat.
I'm gonna stumble down to my knees and hands and say,
"That was not as satisfying as I thought it would be."
and just like crumbled because like I'm fucked up. So I'm just on the ground. Old man strength done. I'm just, and the coughing is continuing worse now. Really bad.
That makes sense. Considering what's happened so far in this, and of course being mindful of time, the several gunshots that had started throughout this did get the attention of people. You do see that there's several people appear to be hunters from the Hunter's Lodge running over just at the tail end as they see this figure dissolving. The mayor is with him, and you see like some people. Rose is there looking panicked, and they're all there to assist. They run over to those who are injured, Kasper being the most visibly injured at this point, attempt to help, offer aid, get you attention and care, and have many questions. But as it stands right now, you have eliminated a Vaesen. Was a mystery solved? Maybe. Was there more at play? Perhaps. But the immediate threat is no more. And your mission is complete. If I had to ask each of your characters what their plan was moving forward, let's start with the most injured, Mr. Krabb.
I'm actually gonna make. I want, here we go.
Okay.
DM, tell me what to roll because smoking a lot of cigarettes. I've been fucked up in many ways during this fight. Like, tell me what to roll because I have a cough and I also have to recover. Like, I feel like I still have to fight that part. So, what should I roll to not be like broken? Because I feel like that's, even though that fight was won, I feel like whatever Kasper's gonna be doing is recovering from this. But I feel like physically broken.
I understand what you're saying. So mechanically, if you suffer an additional physical condition, you would take a critical injury and have you're considered broken at that point. So depending on a roll on a random table would determine the severity of your broken nature and if it's fatal and what time frame you're looking at. Now, you haven't met that threshold, but considering a particular secret for your character, I would say if you see it willing and necessary, we can do a roll.
Probably, sadly.
Okay. This is why I love the dark secrets. So fun. So it's going to be a D66. So take 2d6. If you can't get two different colors, or just take a mental note of which is which. One's going to signify the tens and one the ones. Let me know what you roll.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, 1 second. So D100 then, right?
Oh, what was that? I'm sorry, what was that?
Was it a D100 that I need?
No, a D66. So take two D.
Oh, 66s. Yeah.
We only use D6s.
All right. I'm going to roll them on the floor because I don't want to wake up the dog. I've been using the digital thing, but I feel like we have to use this. So,
or something this significant, that would make sense.
One is 6. I have to figure out which one is the other one. Okay. So the first one was 6, and the second one was a 3.
Okay. Kasper, your body's seen its fair amount of years and injuries and weaknesses that you've kept somewhat hidden. Now, with that, you were already at a disadvantage. Your body, as they carry you and try to get you treated, isn't recovering as you expect. They're having difficulty stopping bleeding. With that roll, you do have a fatal condition. You have 1d6 number of hours left.
Okay.
Would you roll a d6 for me, please?
Sure. A 4.
A 4. You have 4 hours. As you find the initial impact that you thought was just your shoulder is actually down to your abdomen. You do have a torn abdomen. And for this amount of time, as what you would have had an insight in combat for ranged attacks, that's not necessarily relevant in this circumstance. What would Kasper be trying to do or say in his last hours?
Give the coins over to Maja that I've gotten through the fence. And tell Maja about... I'm going to tell Maja about the Vaesen that I got the cigarettes from in the alleyway. Not role-playing this out because of time's sake, so I'm just like, here is my will. Well, I can, but Maja, and I'm just coughing throughout this whole thing, not waking up the pup. Take the rest of these coins. We need to find the Vaesen that well, it's my end. And make sure this goes to some sort of orphanage back in London. The place that I was staying at, they know which one I used to frequent, and just make sure you use whatever you can to help them out.
I'm gonna put my hand, like, kind of on Kasper's chest, like, to kind of help still the coughing. Your bird has always annoyed me, but I will take care of it for you.
I was going to ask if... Well, he's yours now.
And they'll do the orphanage thing. Are the coins special when I take them?
I would say one is, but it's really... That one I actually give to you separately from the other coins that I have. And that one, I can tell you about it after the session, but I give you one just to hold on to for safekeeping.
Okay.
And that's probably what I would do, is just like to lay beside, on my deathbed, essentially, just being comforted by Maja for the next 4 hours and until I pass, and just talking about just old man type of thing, of just like keep reiterating the hunt that we were on before and then this hunt, and I just keep saying those two things back and forth again until like I gasp my last breath.
And that's what happens. Mr. Krabb, you've seen many things and helped many people in an interesting method of ways. But afterwards, Eleanor, what do you plan on doing?
After the Vaesen disappears, and I would like to I would step around Valerio And I would look him dead in the eyes and say, "You had no right. You can tell your Rose Order that if this is what they do, I will have no part of it." And I will walk off. And that evening, I will come back to the farm. And I'm going to go and try to find this goat, and see if there is maybe more to learn there.
So, Eleanor, you return to the farm and, well, met by the family that resides there, are allowed to go and see the many goats that are there. They are friendly in nature as you're observing them and being very acutely aware of your surroundings, considering the events of the day and your own particular history with households. It seems that they are friendly. They don't appear to be odd in any way. They seem like a bunch of goats who look up at you and they kind of look around as though someone that's normally with them isn't.
Then Eleanor will leave and go home to her children, her grandchildren, and continue looking for more stories of Vaesen to tell.
Okay. Valerio.
With the Oracle safe, and having made her way back to her own family, separated from the Order, it is no longer under my purview of my mission. I will instruct the mayor if this woman or this creature or this spirit appears, the cross, the sound of the church bells, to speak with the pastor in order to make sure that any and all in the village understand how to protect themselves from this thing now that they know that it does exist and it is real. When Mr. Krabb, when Kasper passes, he places 2 hollowed out coins in his pocket to pay for his toll. Takes his notes, gets back on a wagon to leave, and then back on a boat home to give the knowledge of how to protect an oracle against a lady in green with cloven hooves.
Valerio, before you head out, you are stopped and provided with a letter you received from a friend, Ulrika. It's very brief, but very neatly written in her precise handwriting, mentioning of just having arrived back at the headquarters where you two had first met, and a recent interesting train ride she went on that involved meeting, of all things, a werewolf. But she's safe, and she's looking forward to seeing you again. Maja.
I think I stay with Kasper as he's dying. And after he's gone, I'm just going to kind of sit in the room with Pierogi on the bed, and I'll look over to kind of an empty space to my right and say, I failed again, and I think I'll cry. And then I'll go into the forest with my dog and just keep looking.
And each of your searches continues for different things, different persons, different goals. Eventually, you hear once more from the Rose House a thank you. And then a curious mention about a lady in green being seen again. And that's where we'll end it. Thank you all so much for watching, staying with us throughout this investigation, and thank you to my wonderful players. It's been an absolute honor to watch all of you and interact with you. I really could not have asked for a better table. So let's go ahead and before we wrap it up with our positive affirmation at each other, I would like all of my players to plug yourself, essentially. Say where our viewers can find you, what you're working on, and feel free to promote anything that's going on. Let's start with happy birthday, Beau. Thank you so much for joining us on this long day, but why don't you start?
Hi, everyone. My name is Beau. I use they, them pronouns, and I have been playing Eleanor Easton. And you can find me all over the internet as Dorky Teacher. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram. On Twitch, however, it is just Dorky Teacher because someone who doesn't stream has Dorky Teacher, and I can't. I'm not allowed to get it until they don't use the account for a long time. It's really unfortunate. But you can find me probably coming up at the end of this month. We'll be starting up our game of It'll Be Easy, which is a D&D 5th edition game using Tailspire, which is very much a... I've been told that isekai is not a very relatable thing to say, that not a lot of people know that, so Jumanji'd into the game of D&D was one that more people understand. And so I play myself. I have died in that game. I have been brought back to life. I have lost my memories, and I have just been offered to be able to get 60% of something that I wish for deeply. There's a lot of really intense stuff happening in that game. So that'll be coming back beginning of March. Other than that, you can find me on my own Twitch channel doing crazy stuff, like deciding to stream for like 16 hours today. It's 16 hours that we're at. But you can find me on Tuesdays streaming video games, Wednesdays, Thursdays streaming other video games, all that kind of stuff. I have a schedule. You can go look at it. You can go find it, and I'd love to see you there.
Well, thank you so much, Beau. Next up, Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael Sinclair II. I go by Michael Crits everywhere. I'm a professional TTRPG performer and Magic the Gathering personality, and sometimes tournament player. Yes, you can catch any of my stuff. Just either look it up on YouTube, Michael Crits, and you'll find a whole bunch of content there. You can catch me on my own channel on Twitch, where I play Magic the Gathering, or I'll just do stuff on like social education type things, like any relevant politics going stuffs on, or things about social justice issues, or just things to kind of, let you be more informed about issues that pertain to marginalized folks or the whole earth as a whole. So if you're just in doing all that or learning about any of that, my takes on that, check out that content. That's me.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. And Jazz.
Hi, I'm Jazz. I'm on Instagram as BugbearHug. Besides that, not really anywhere. I just like role-playing games, and I like sharing stories with wonderful people like this. And I had a lot of fun, and I'm just glad to be here.
And thank you so much for trusting us to be your first streaming experience. This was incredible. Thank you so much for joining us. You are amazing. So, not to put you on the spot, but hope we see you again.
I hope so.
Fantastic. And Will.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will, the lore keeper for Arclight Court. You can find me at Arclight Court on Instagram and at Arclight Court here on Twitch. I do a lot of tabletop role-playing games, creating custom games based off of popular culture like Resident Evil, My Hero Academia, X-Men, all of that stuff. We're going to be working on a Power Rangers tabletop role-playing game coming to a wonderful streaming society that has presented this story here in the near future, so I can't wait to catch you all there. Again, Will, the lore keeper at Arclight Court on Instagram and Twitch.
Fantastic. And I guess I'll wrap it up. My name is Brianna. I am a channel organizer here on the Initiative Order, a tabletop streamer here and over at Second Star Show with Michael, actually, and M, who was in our earlier sessions, the two characters that I killed. So that's an odd coincidence, but otherwise, I'm occasionally a game master here. I really enjoy the system of Vaesen, and I'm so excited I had an awesome table like this to share it with. But you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Brianna Flame. Aside from that, I think that's going to be it for us. But if you're still here with us, we would like to go raid our friends over at Blackwater D&D. So let's go ahead and go show them support. Be positive. We love you all. Thank you for joining.